Before I start, I want you to picture the place clearly. It's a small apartment building on the edge of Seattle, Washington. Only 3 floors, no elevator, thin walls. The kind of building people choose when they don't want to be noticed. There aren't many tenants. Most of us came here for the same reason: quiet, privacy, distance. At least, that's what I thought. I've lived alone for a long time. After moving back from Chicago, after everything in my life slowed down, I found comfort in routine. Doing the same things the same way every day made the silence easier to handle. My mornings were always identical. I left my apartment at 8:10, locked the door twice, paused for half a second to check the handle, then walked down the narrow stairwell, counting the steps without thinking about it. At night, I followed another routine. Shoes off, keys on the counter, lights out in the same order. The building felt cooperative, like it knew when to settle down. Not peaceful, just still. The first strange thing didn't scare me. One evening, I came home and saw my shoes already by the door, lined up neatly, a little closer together than usual. I stood there, trying to remember taking them off. I eventually convinced myself I must have. I was tired. And when you live alone long enough, your days blend together. That explanation felt reasonable at the time. A few nights later, I started noticing patterns. Not noises, patterns. Footsteps in the hallway at the same time every night. Slow. Careful, never rushed. They didn't wander. They moved past each door in order. Mine was always last. One night, they stopped outside my apartment. No knock, no handle turning, just someone standing there long enough for the silence to feel planned. The next morning, I found a note on my kitchen counter. Not hidden, not dramatic. Placed exactly where I usually set my keys. You forgot again. I checked the locks, windows, the space under the door. Nothing forced, nothing disturbed. That bothered me more than a break-in would have. I started paying attention to smaller things. The bathroom light was on when I woke up. The sink was damp. My phone alarm was dismissed before it rang. I told myself I was doing these things in my sleep. That explanation felt easier. I began recording audio at night, just my phone on the table. Most nights were uneventful, the hum of electricity, my breathing. But every recording changed at 2:17 a.m. Not suddenly, gradually, like something was syncing itself. I noticed something else. The recordings captured footsteps, but only after I moved, never before. Like an echo that came first. I stopped trusting my sense of timing. I started talking to the neighbors more, just to ground myself. One evening, I asked the older couple downstairs if they'd noticed anyone walking the halls late at night. They thought for a moment. "We hear someone," the man said. "Always walking the same way." Then his wife added, almost apologetically, "We assumed it was you." After that, mirrors started feeling instructional. My reflection didn't lag. It waited, like it was checking if I was done before continuing. The notes kept appearing. Short, corrective. You usually lock the door twice. You leave your shoes closer together. You pause before turning off the light. They weren't warnings. They were reminders. And without realizing it, I started following them. I didn't stay awake on purpose. I just stopped sleeping properly. One night, I found myself sitting on the edge of my bed, lights off, phone face down. The apartment felt different. Not louder, not colder. Occupied. I checked the time. 2:17 a.m. That's when I realized something had already gone wrong. There were footsteps, but they weren't coming toward me. They were moving the way I move. Slow, familiar, automatic. I stood up. The sound stopped. I took a step forward. It continued. That's when it hit me. The apartment wasn't reacting to me anymore. It was following a routine. Mine. I went to the mirror. My reflection was already there, standing the way I stand when I'm tired, looking past me instead of at me. When I raised my hand, it didn't move. It just watched. Not curious, not hostile. Occupied. Somewhere in the building, a door opened, then closed. The sound was familiar, because it was my door, and I was still standing in the room. I live somewhere else now. Different city, different building. I follow new routines, different locks, different stairs. But sometimes, when I come home, my shoes are already there, placed exactly the way I was about to leave them. And for a moment, before I move, I get the feeling I've already been home longer than I remember. Somewhere, in a quiet apartment in Seattle, someone is still following my routine. And I don't think it's me anymore.